In my opinion, the most dynamic discipline in dog training is teaching your dog to track for another human. They have to hunt. Ideally, they're scent discriminate, meaning they're only finding that person, and it's up to them to take point, think critically, be confident, and do the job. In tracking, the roles reverse. I'm saying, all right, I am useless, you need to take point, and I will trust you. This discipline does not need to be reserved for only working dogs. In fact, some of the best dogs I've taught to track, pet off the couch. And they were like, finally, something I could sink my teeth into. Not literally, but more mentally. Hunting, problem solving, sniffing, decoding. It's the same reason why humans love escape rooms so much. And, you know, for me, as a trainer, as a teacher, the miles and hours spent watching my dog at the end of a 30-foot tracking line, that's been one of the best instructors I've ever had. You can't fill that time with noise. You can't fill that time with a bunch of questions. All you can do is watch, study, observe. It's very quiet and peaceful, and it's humbling, right? You'd think that hours spent staring at a dog's ass wouldn't be all of that, but boy, it's taught me so much about just shutting up, so much about getting to know a dog's style. I think it's such a beautiful discipline too, because no matter what you call it, tracking, trailing, manhunting, man-trailing, there's different locked-in ideologies that sometimes get associated with the terminology. And so if someone were to ask me, Chris, what's the best? What's the best approach? Is it tracking? Is it ground scent disturbance? Is it this guy's method? Is it that guy's method? Oversimplified, my answer is usually yes. It's all great because it all gives you information and ingredients towards the bigger picture of all this. You might have a dog that needs style A with a little dash of style B. Or maybe that next dog needs more of style B with a dash of style A. The discussion on tracking needs to be less, what's the best way? It needs to be more, what's the right way for that dog today? Because it goes back to a balance of motivation versus concentration. An argument might get made about the right approach and this and that, and we show up like, that dog doesn't even want to do it. He doesn't know what to do. He's more interested in sniffing fire hydrants. And you know, we're tapping into their predatory sequence, which is super cool. We're saying, hey, you're a dog, you're a hunter, you're designed to sniff and problem solve through scent pictures. You know, the odor information might be on the ground and you should use that, but it might be floating in the air. You should also use that. It might be about contact odor or spit or whatever sprayed on the ground. Use that too. So it's more about encouraging the dog to become an artist, if you will. They should learn to read their scent stories and develop a more refined skill. It's in their nature to do so. This is how they find elk, right? Or whatever they're hunting. Now, what we're doing in this craft, though, is saying, all right, dog, you're really good at this. I suck at this as a human. I want you to do it. I want you to tap into that nature within you. But then we have to craft it carefully because we have to be careful that the reinforcement history doesn't lead us down the wrong track, so to speak, or maybe the wrong path in this case. So it's like, all right, dog, I want you to track, I want you to hunt, but I want you to hunt this person, meaning turn that dog into a heat-seeking missile to find the one person. Scent discrimination isn't argued nearly as much as I hear styles in tracking argued. I've had people even ask me, is it possible? They're like, Chris, can you really teach a dog to be scent discriminate? And simply put, yes. I mean, we see discrimination sequencing, if you will, all the time in dog training. Right? Even think pet dogs. You grab a leash off the wall, that dog knows we're going outside. right? It is a sequence. Now, it's obvious to us, it's physical, it's visual. One thing leads to the other. Now, the same can be true for scent, as long as you've built that pattern well. It's not just be a good tracker. It is be a good tracker and stay committed to whoever we indexed you on to begin with. So, I'm just gonna say it too, tracking is often where it's easy to baffle with bullshit, quite frankly, right? Oh, the dog didn't do it because of this or that, or the dog, they must have gotten picked up by the car, that's why the dog couldn't find it. It's a very humbling discipline. As a handler, as a trainer, you have to accept failure as a means of growth, not failure as a means of failure. It should not be insulting to fail on a track. It should not be an attack on your personality or your ego when your dog can't do it. You should almost be excited to study the failure, excited to study the issue. And as long as you go in with a mentality of, well, I'm not going to go too crazy too fast, I'm going to gently add weight to the bar at the gym, it's not a measurement on how good of a trainer you are. The only thing that should measure how good of a trainer you are is your obsession on the process to get better, to get more real in what you can do. You know, there's an interesting difference between scent detection, like as it relates to narcotics or bomb detection, versus tracking. In scent detection, really with good training, you should have a dog that is reflexive to those specific odors. Whether you gave them the instruction or not, they get into an odor cloud of, say, cocaine, and there should be a reflexive head snap, right? That's a reflex response because of how much they've been reinforced and rewarded for finding that. Now, in tracking, the reflex should be to hunt. When you geared them up, they should be reflexively shifting into hunt mode. But the odor they're working on might be completely novel to them. It might be a person they've never smelled before. So that's interesting in its own way, because now we have a reflexive hunt, but a more cognitive actual odor profile they have to stay committed to over, maybe miles if it's in the backcountry like here, or maybe through obstacles, through contamination, with distractions. Again, it's this constant push-pull, motivation, concentration. Are they air scenting too much at certain phases? Do they know how to detail the ground in certain situations? So again, it's not one style flattened as the way to do it. That oversimplifies a really beautiful craft if you think about it. Take everyone's style into consideration, but look at it through the lens of, I need to be a chef when it comes to tracking. I need to be a chef that knows how to cook. There's a lot of different things that I could think about, and then I need to think, all right, what ingredient is best for the dog in front of me? Because at the end of the day, a true deployment of tracking is going to put a magnifying glass on every little thing that you were using to help during training. Maybe you always show the dog where the track starts. Maybe you always know the direction of travel. As the trainer, as the teacher of tracking, you must think of yourself more as the facilitator of challenges against well-defined behavioral criteria. I facilitate learning through critical thinking and problem solving and failing forward for the dog. I'm regularly blown away at what my dogs have done when I set up challenges that I thought were appropriate. I didn't know if they'd do it or not, and I watched how they problem solved it. I'm like, I never would have thought they would have done it that way. And the neat part comes the next time you set up that same kind of track. A lot of times they get more efficient in working through it as their own idea. Think they figured it out, but they also recognize how many calories they spent figuring it out, and they're like, oh, well, next time I'll just do it a little different. It's the best I can try and sum it up. I love bite work. It's very exciting. Done it for many years, but I tell you, there is nothing quite like tracking. Miles in the backcountry, At least that's how I've done it a lot in Montana. I don't know where the person went. We just locked into their article, and you're just trusting your dog, reading their body language, and then all of a sudden you come around a tree and there they are. It's like treasure hunting. It's awesome. Done right too, that dog should fight against you in the right way for the betterment of the team. Can't tell you how many times I've thought someone went one way, but the dog had the gumption and the confidence to say, no, dumbass, this way. And that is a neat point to get to, where your dog is disobedient to you for the betterment of knowing what they're supposed to be doing. That's true confidence. That's confidence and good training culture between dog and handler. You do this right, and this discipline can really maintain itself as a muse for you as a trainer, right? It keeps you driven, it keeps you curious, it keeps you hungry, and for no other reason, it's fun. You get to be outside with your dog a lot. Alrighty, free, come on, bud. The discipline of tracking involves never thinking that you reached the end of the track. You're always learning, you're always piecing it together until you get the next dog that punches you in the face and throws you off everything that you thought made sense. Just gotta stay humble, just gotta keep learning.